The story begins in an old, isolated cabin nestled deep in the heart of a jungle. Inside, a woman named Brenner is forced to watch as her husband is brutally murdered by a group of goons. The goons, confident that they've eliminated the only witnesses, drag both bodies and toss them into a deep, freshly dug pit. They then bury them, believing their story is over forever. But they have made a grave mistake. Brenner is still alive. The bullets had not hit her vital organs, but had only grazed her. Brenner is no ordinary woman. She is a highly trained soldier in the army. Her husband, Dylan, was a police officer. This whole horrifying ordeal began when they were on a road trip, enjoying their vacation. On the way, a menacing truck driver dangerously overtook their car, yelling dirty words at Brenner. They decided to ignore him and continued on their journey. A while later, they stopped at a restaurant, a roadside Dave Numa. Dylan went to the washroom while Brenner waited outside alone. The truck driver returned and began to harass her with even more disgusting behavior than before. Brenner was upset, but Dylan returned and intervened before things could escalate. As the argument was about to intensify, an elderly woman from the restaurant came between them, calmly defusing the tension. She warned Brenner that the local people don't like outsiders, but told the couple that they seemed like good people. After this encounter, Brenner and Dylan got back on the road. Deep in the jungle, they met a female police officer who gave them a similar warning, advising that the people in this area do not treat strangers well. This advice put the couple on high alert. A short distance later, they decided to set up a tent, but as soon as they did, it started raining. To escape the downpour, they took shelter in a small wooden cabin. At first, everything seemed normal, and their conversations filled the space with laughter and jokes. But then, Brenner stumbled upon a hidden room containing a shocking discovery, a pile of weapons. She immediately told Dylan that they needed to get out of there. But it was already too late. Suddenly, a man named Butch appeared from behind them and shot them, knocking them unconscious. When they regained consciousness, they found themselves trapped in a dark room. Their real nightmare was just beginning. Butch began to sadistically torture Dylan, forcing Brenner to watch every agonizing moment. The situation grew far worse when one of Butch's accomplices revealed that Dylan was a cop. The goons knew they had no choice but to kill him. Butch hesitated for a moment, visibly scared. "I didn't know you were a cop," he said. "I'm sorry." But in the very next instant, he pulled out his gun and squeezed the trigger without a second thought. The sound of the bullet echoed, and the room went silent. Butch ordered his men to pick up the bodies. They were dragged mercilessly and thrown into a deep pit. The scene shifts into a sudden flashback. We see Brenner going through tough military training. Her eyes are filled with a fierce anger, her body is disciplined, and her movements are filled with raw power. This woman is not an ordinary human, she is a warrior. The story returns to the present. Brenner's eyes slowly open, caked with mud and blood. It is a miracle, she is alive. The bullet had only grazed her body and left a deep wound, but she was not dead. As soon as she regained consciousness, her first thought was of Dylan. But the heartbreaking truth was right in front of her. Dylan was no longer in this world. Crying, Brenner gave him a final farewell by covering his body with small cloths. Guilt was consuming her from within, as this whole trip had been her idea. But that same pain awakened an inner strength. She remembered that she was a warrior and a fighter. Losing was not in her blood. Dylan's death could not be in vain. She swore an oath. "I will kill all those responsible one by one." She got up, picked up a nearby axe, and moved forward, fueled by the fire of revenge. Her movements were strong, and her goal was clear in her eyes. Justice was her single purpose. Meanwhile, the child, as the goons call him, has returned home. The atmosphere in his home is as dangerous as the jungle itself. He and his son, Cruyff, are torturing a woman. Their violence clearly shows how heartless this family is. The child continues to torture the woman while he is drunk as she tries to free herself. The entire town lives in fear of this family. The child's mother enters the room, stops her son, and tells him to eat, saying there's more work to be done. She has no idea that Brenner is already in the forest, preparing for her next step. Brenner makes a sharp weapon from tree branches. She uses it to suddenly stab a man to death, her first victim. She hides the body and disappears into the forest like a shadow. One by one, she hunts her enemies. She kills some of them and leaves the others wounded so they will be a reminder of the destruction she is bringing. She is filled with anger with every attack, but she remains alert. To get rid of a nearby threat, she uses an explosive to take out a fireproof cabin. The whole forest shakes with the sound of the explosion. The old Sheriff Hobbs, sitting far away, hears the explosion and takes his gun to investigate. At the Goons' home, the child sees a cloud of smoke and his mother gets up in fear. She immediately orders her son to investigate. When he goes to the forest, he finds one of their men badly injured. He puts the man in his truck and drives off in search of help. He has no idea that Brenner, who was hiding in the back of the truck, is watching his every move. When he returns home and tells his mother the bad news, her anger explodes. She scolds him for failing and slaps him. It becomes clear that the foundation of their empire is shaking. His mother orders him to find some outside fighters to strengthen their army. Butch goes to an old acquaintance who lives alone in the jungle and keeps records of people. He asks him to find out more about Brenner. Turning through his papers, the man reveals a shocking truth. Brenner is not an ordinary woman, but a special soldier with elite training. Hearing this, Butch and his mother realize that their enemy is far more dangerous than they ever imagined. Meanwhile, Sheriff Hobbs stumbles upon a corpse deep in the jungle. It doesn't take him long to realize that something big is happening. He immediately sends a report to the chief and provides information about the violence in the area. On her end, Brenner is also getting ready. She sets dangerous traps in the jungle so the enemy cannot leave alive. When the sheriff's team arrives on the scene, they recognize the corpse. It is a member of the group run by the woman known with fear and hatred throughout the area, a woman named Mother. Now everyone realizes how serious the situation has become. Hobbs, who had already suspected the situation, immediately asks to meet Mother. A young woman working at the police base sends this news to Mother without delay. In fact, the same girl is part of Mother's criminal network. When the sheriff's team officially reports finding the corpse in the jungle, Mother uses her usual cunning. She hides the truth and tells a false story that the man committed suicide. Hobbs knows she is lying, but he decides it's better to remain silent and leaves with his men. His suspicions become even stronger. That night, Mother and her people drown themselves in alcohol, mourning their dead companion. Gradually, everyone becomes unconscious. That's when Butch wakes up. He has no idea that death is waiting for him. As he enters a room, he finds Brenner already sitting there in the dark. In an instant, she strikes him in the neck, avenging her husband's death. She silently watches as Butch takes his last breath. But Brenner doesn't stop there. While hiding, she sees another terrifying truth. A man drags an innocent girl and locks her in a room. When she looks around, she sees many other girls trapped there as well. Her heart trembles at the sight, and she decides to free them at any cost. Suddenly, one of the girls screams loudly, alerting the guards. A gunman enters and begins shooting without delay. One girl is killed, but Brenner, keeping her composure, kills the attacker in an instant. She then runs to the forest with a girl named Emily and finds a safe place to hide. When Mother hears that Butch is dead and Emily has escaped, she is filled with anger and sorrow. She swears to catch Brenner at any cost. She starts a large-scale search with her men and dogs. A man in the forest finds Brenner's hideout, but Brenner traps and kills him. She soon kills another enemy. That night, Brenner and Emily sit in peace for a while. Scared, Emily confesses that she is pregnant and is afraid Mother will find her. Brenner reassures her, promising to protect her and help her get a new life. Crying, Emily explains that they are all sold and that every few months, new girls are brought to their place. The next day, Emily is caught again. But the brave Brenner arrives just in time and kills the kidnappers. Sheriff Hobbs is also there, having been shot in the leg. Brenner kills the attacker and safely rescues Hobbs. A wounded Hobbs warns her to mislead the enemies so they cannot find their hiding place. Following his advice, Brenner and Emily run out of the river and are met by the same policewoman who had warned them earlier. She asks them to get in her car. Exhausted, both of them fall asleep. But when they wake up, they find themselves surrounded by Mother and her men. The horrible truth is revealed. The policewoman is actually a traitor working for Mother. Mother's men begin to torture both Emily and Brenner. Emily is forced to reveal that she is carrying Butch's child. Hearing this, Mother orders her men to release Emily, but to keep Brenner for further torture. But Emily has a different plan. She kills the kidnappers and frees Brenner. Both of them enter the room where Mother and her men are waiting. A fierce fight breaks out. Brenner kills the enemies one by one. But then, Mother grabs Emily by the neck and ties her up. She puts a knife to her neck, spreading terror. In the chaos, Brenner is attacked from behind, and Mother strangles Emily. Brenner kills her attacker, but by the time she gets to Emily, she is gone forever. Brenner is heartbroken. "You did not deserve this," she says. "Forgive me." 3 months later, Mother is sitting in her garden when she receives a message. The message says simply, "Judgment Day." Before she can even understand what it means, a single bullet pierces her head. Brenner, standing far away, witnesses the scene. Her journey of revenge is finally over. Now, she has no anger and no fear, there is only silence. She quietly turns around and leaves her past behind.